Alright, so I'm back to work on the Pontiac. It's another new day. It's actually Thursday night. I'm off Friday. And I wanted to come out here and see if I can get some work done on this. So I know that I didn't like the way the firewall was. I didn't like the way that this was offset, because you can tell the center of the car is here and the firewall hump, or for the back of the motor on the straight 8, was actually off center. And it really bothered me. And you can see that the tunnel is in the center and this is not. And I want to do a new firewall, not only for centering the hump, but also it's going to be brake booster, clutch cylinder, everything's going to be mounted on this side, and I don't want to have to patch up holes and drill holes, and then it's not very sturdy anyways. So I'm getting a sheet of 16 gauge tomorrow, but tonight I was going to just try to get the firewall cut out. I went ahead and drilled all these holes, got it free, because I'm just going to tuck the piece of metal behind it, and once I get it in, I'll mark the center of it and cut out for this guy and weld the original back in. I'm not too concerned with the way it's going to meet up down here. It's going to look funky for a little bit until I get the floors made, but I don't know my tunnel size for my 6-speed transmission yet. I don't have it, so I'll just be moving it over, and wherever the floor is for them, that's just where it's going to go until I figure out the hump. But I figure I'd get the camera set up, try to get this guy cut out and removed. I don't have the body bolted down right now, but there's enough supports that go down to the inside of the floorboard of what's left, and it goes out to the inner structure here, so I don't think I'll have any issues there, but we'll find out. I think it's still strong enough to support it, so I'm gonna go ahead and set the camera up and start cutting her out. Alright, so I got the firewall out in one piece like I wanted to. I should be able to cut off all these little tabs and bolt heads, and when I get my sheet of metal tomorrow, I'll just be able to clamp it on and do the outline, just to do a flat firewall for a template. One thing I will probably do is there is a cowl brace in here, and I'll probably go ahead and slice up it a little bit on each side, get it cleaned up while I can. So after I get the firewall in, get these tabs beat around, I'll be able to tap this back down to the firewall and weld that guy back on. The other side doesn't have one factory. I'm not sure if I'm going to add one in or not. I don't think I will. But this does give me a good opportunity to come in here and cut some of this stuff out of the way. Speedometer, just some wires. I'll be able to cut all that stuff away. Key switch, I'm going to try to reuse it if I can, but I'll definitely come in here and get rid of some of this stuff here. Some of the vents, I'll get all that stuff cut out so I can have a nice working surface. Anything else I need to do while I'm in here, I'll try to get with it and do some. Got some factory vent locations, they're all steel, which is nice. But yeah, I think it went pretty well. I'll check back in tomorrow, and I'll show you the process of me putting in the new firewall and getting the divot installed and everything, and how I'm going to start tying it into my floorboards, because that'll be my next step, is doing some work in here. I'll try to make as small as pieces as possible. I'll try to go ahead and make this down piece with an edge for me to weld against on both sides. But yeah, I'm gonna have to get the body bolted down, at least the best of my abilities. The body mounts are actually in decent shape. They're usable, I think. So the more bolts I can get bolted down, the better. And then I'll start cutting out the floors. But I'd like to get this piece patched tomorrow with the divot installed. And then I'd also like to come in here. And I think this is just a rain gutter, just so it runs around. But I think I'm just gonna cut it up through here and around. I'll just cut this whole thing off after I get done with the firewall, and just smooth it out and make it all flat. It don't have to have a divot anymore. It's really not going to see any rain. But yeah, so far so good. All right, another day. It's Friday. It's probably 15 degrees out here. I got my propane going, and I'm back to work on this firewall. So after I got it cut out last night, this morning, ran around a little bit, I got a couple sheets of metal, and I got one cut down 19 inches, and I overlaid my original firewall over it for my template. And I'm gonna work on go ahead and get that cut out and installed there, so I can start cutting this out and figuring out where I want to put it. I got everything cleaned up already, cleaned up some of the old wiring out of there, some of the switches I'm not going to use anymore. What I will end up doing is cutting this off here and welding on a new flat piece and making it like the other side, so I won't have a divot to worry about when I put my new firewall panel in. I'll cut that in afterward. So yeah, let's get started. Alright, so my camera kept messing up, but I did get this guy patched in, which I didn't get any footage of it, but I'll kind of give you the rundown of what I did do. So after I got that flat panel in, this is the center point here. So I started a line here, and I ran my level down. I marked the line, I measured over and made sure it was in the center. Once I made sure it was in the center, I took my old divot out of the old firewall there, and I trimmed it around the edge, and I flipped it over backwards, and I put it on and centered the piece on each side. I marked the outline of it. I cut out to where it was an 1/8 inch around it so I could turn it around, make sure I had it level, and wherever I had it level, I just tacked it in barely, marked my second line on it, so then I could flush weld it here, which you can see I got it tacked and flush. But some areas got too much of a gap, but this is what you can do when you got an angle grinder and some cutting disc. But overall, it's pretty good. I also came down here and put in this piece here, made this flat to match the other side where it used to have that bump. But overall, I like it. Turned out pretty good. Up here, I did that filler piece where there used to be the drain channel for the water. So I cut out that, and I used the old one I put out, or old one I took out. I clamped it on that new piece of metal, and it made me a template here, and it really wasn't too bad. I just started here and just kind of worked my way and bent it down as I went and made it flush all the way around this backside and over to here and kind of here, and then I had to work the metal a little bit to get it flushed out here. It's not perfect, but it'll grind down pretty good. I'm not too concerned about it. There's nothing too high there. But I think what I'm going to start on doing now is I'm going to get my body bolt holes all lined up. Once I have them kind of halfway decently lined up, I'm going to work on this floor, which I think in here is actually fine, up the kick panel. I even think down to this body mount right here is fine. But I will come in here and cut this and do a bend, because of course all this is going to have to be replaced. But I'd like to at least get this section up here patched, welded in, and I'll just make it a straight line shot off of there, kind of coming down through here like that. Pretty much what I decided on that floorboard panel on the left side was that it didn't need the whole entire panel replaced. The bottom of it actually wasn't too bad, and the way I'm going to end up running my floorboards, it's not going to affect it where it is bad, more towards the bottom. I'm running the floorboards a little farther forward with a 3/4 inch lip, so it should cover all the bad metal and make it so I don't have to replace the whole thing. Also, I forgot to film kind of the outro for this. I wasn't sure where I was going to stop this video at, but basically on the next video you're going to see me replace all the floorboards and then transition into doing the inner and outer rockers. But I'm excited for what the future holds with the Pontiac, so we're moving right along. So don't forget to tune in and see me again next week. Thanks for watching.